Hi guys, welcome back to Nico Talks Hockey, and welcome back to another edition of Team Panic Meters. We're going to be ranking through a tier list every team in the NHL based on how panicked they are and how their team is doing. Maybe there's no panic. Maybe they've depending on how bad they truly are. Maybe they've resigned themselves to getting high in the draft, getting a high draft pick. Or if they're doing really well, maybe there's no panic because their team is doing really well. So we're doing a tier list now. I'm about to go through every team in the NHL and go through where they rank on this tier list. I've definitely put a bit of a Christmas spin on these tier names. So I hope you hopefully like that. I'm definitely in the Christmas spirit as we're one day away from Christmas. I've got another Christmas sweater on here, as you can see. So let's get into it. I'm gonna move over here so we can get the tier list on the screen here. Right before I get into it, I do want to say my goal is to hit 500 subscribers. If you like the video, help like the video and then subscribe to the channel if you really like it. Would really help me and my goals here on the channel. But without further ado, I want to get right into it here. So you can see the tier list here, and we're going to start from the bottom. We're going to work our way up. So at the bottom, we've got, it rhymes with Flavin McGrenna. This is basically, there's not many teams in this tier. This is like, if you're in this tier, you're beyond panic. Your team is so bad, not even so bad, but your team is at the point where your goals are that you're not trying to get to the playoffs really at this point. Your goals are that you're trying to build towards the future. And, whether it's Gavin McKenna or it's Ivar Stenberg, who's unbelievable, or it's the top defenseman in Keaton Verhoff, you're trying to get one of those three. And so, yeah, there's two teams in here, and one of them is my own Chicago Blackhawks. I've lost 6 games in a row now, and they've lost their top 2 centers in Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar to injuries. They will both come back sometime in January, most likely. But losing 6 in a row with how close, I mean, the league is so close this year. I mean, there's no teams that are really trying to tank. And the Blackhawks were off to an awesome start to the season. And losing, your superstar in Connor Bedard and then losing your second line center in Frank Nazar, that'll do it for you. Like they were already, overperforming. They weren't very likely going to be a playoff team, even if they had both of them still, because, they were overperforming a bit. They were not ready yet truly to take that next step to the playoffs. And now without their top 2 centers, they're finally showing that, yeah, this is a season that is about growth. Still, it's still about growth. I still believe the Blackhawks, this is a good season for them. They're projected to get around 70-ish points. That is an upgrade. That is a step above. There's still need, I'd say, one more true blue prospect to really finish off the rebuild in terms of all the big name prospects they need to really build out their top 6 and then their defensemen as well. So yeah, Blackhawks are in the bottom tier along with the Vancouver Canucks. They have experienced a bit of a bump ever since the blockbuster Quinn Hughes trade, but that's short term. This is a team that is destined for the bottom of the standings when it's all said and done, and that's good. Their own, I think it's Jeremy Rutherford, I think is his name. He even said that this team is this team is rebuilding now. So that's the state this team is in, and honestly, that's what they need. They need to hand this team to the youth. They need to hand it over and build from within, because what they had it wasn't working. So Canucks in the bottom tier. We move up, and this is where we get to the panic. This is the panic tier, and this is what it's all about, right? So in this tier, I've got feeling panicked and grinchy. This is where we really get into the Christmas vibe of it all. If you are a fan of one of these teams in this tier, or if you're a player on one of these teams, chances are, even with the Christmas vibe, you are still feeling not so great. You're feeling kind of a bit of a Grinch this Christmas. So first up, I've got the Winnipeg Jets. They are well out of a playoff spot right now. I understand it's all close, and a 5-game winning streak will get you right back into the conversation. But the Jets, they had too long of a stretch without Connor Hellebuck, and because they play their play relies so heavily on him, they really fell down, and they were in free fall for so long. And now that he's back, yes, they're playing a little bit better. He's helping out a lot, but still, they're not good enough of a team. I say they don't make playoffs. And if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan, because of the state your team is and where you have to win right now, it's a really bad position to be in. So full on panic for the Winnipeg Jets. Moving on to the Seattle Kraken. This is an interesting one because I imagine that the Seattle Kraken fan base is split. Half of them, I'm sure you want your team to do good. You want your team to make playoffs whenever possible. But you definitely don't want your team to be in this murky middle that they've been in since their conception as a team. So if they were good for a while and now they're not, for this season. So I imagine there's panic there. But also if they can just continue to suck, I think that they'll quickly slip into the last tier, which is not panic, but just acceptance that, yeah, we need to keep building this team up and get some really, really good prospects. Moving on to a team that's definitely panicked, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have not figured out things yet. They've already fired one coach, an assistant coach, Mark Savard, who ran their power play. That needed to happen. Their power play was abysmal. But more firings may be coming, including their main coach, Craig Berube, and maybe their GM in Brad Treliving. It's that bad. It's that scary right now as if you're a Leafs fan or if you're a Leafs player. Really not good times. Full-on panic in Toronto. Moving on to the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think it's panic. I think it's panic because it's so competitive in the East and you're not separating yourself. You're about halfway into the season now and you haven't separated yourself from the pack. You're in danger of being maybe, even though, you're about a 500 team or so, you're in danger of potentially being the last team in the East, the worst team in the East. So it's scary times for Columbus, I would say, for sure. Two more teams that are in the panic tier. Let's go with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, why did I put them in panic? I could have put them up a tier above, but I think that just because it was so good for a while and the dream was there, the dream was still alive, that maybe they could make some miracle run to the playoffs for one last run at the core of Crosby and Letang and Malkin. But it's looking more and more like that dream is not going to happen. And they are still too competitive, though, to bottom out. I think that Pittsburgh Penguins fans are probably in a state of panic right now where it's like, oh no, is this going to be a season where, again, we're not good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to truly get a top prospect? That would be a failure of a season, in my opinion. So that's why I have them in panic. And the last team in panic I have is the New York Rangers, who still have not fully figured out things yet. It's, again, almost halfway in the season, and they still have not solidified themselves as a true playoff team yet. There's still time. Absolutely, there's still time to really get yourself in there, but they're still below the playoff line. And this team is having one too many stinkers, like too many games where it's like, ooh, that was gross. That it should have been a better performance. So that's why I'm in panic mode. I don't think too many Rangers fans are feeling too good with the state of their team right now. Moving on to the next tier, I've got concerned, but there's still time to right the ship. So this is kind of your standard middle of the lineup panic meter kind of tier to be in. You're not feeling that good, but you're also not feeling that bad. You understand that, yeah, it's not great, but it's not time to just full on sell everything, sell high or whatever. It's like there's still time. So starting off with the St. Louis Blues, the Blues have come back in a big way. They were underperforming to start the season, and they've seen their kind of regression to the mean, so to speak. They are still, in my opinion, not a playoff team, but they're doing enough to stay in the hunt. And I guess for management, that's all you can really ask for. As fans, I know enough St. Louis Blues fans that are not happy when they're doing good right now because they believe that they're not good enough to make the playoffs, and they want a blue chip prospect. They want to kind of see some turnover here, move off of the likes of Buchnevich or, maybe even their captain, maybe Bennington, kind of get some youth in here and get some real blue chip youth. So there's a lot of concern, but it's mixed emotions concern for St. Louis. Moving on to the Calgary Flames, I'm going to say them also in tandem with the Nashville Predators, who are also in this tier. The Flames and Predators are in the same boat, which is like they were abysmal, just like true lottery teams to start out the season. And now they've won like a ton in a row, and they've had like amazing streaks here, and the vibes are high, and it's like, what is going on? Are they sellers or are they buyers? It's very interesting. In my opinion, I think they should be sellers. These are teams that should commit to the tank and start and sell off pieces to sell high. But knowing the organizations, knowing Barry Trotz, knowing the owner of Calgary, I don't think so. I think they're going to be mild buyers probably, especially if they keep these streaks up. So it was so hard to rank these teams and where to put them in this tier list, but I'll put them right in the middle because it is still unsure where their fates lie. Are they going to go? Are they going to get off of the hot streaks they're on and tank it up again, or are they going to continue to do well and make it fun closer to March and April? Moving on to the Kings, I have them concerned. They're in a wild card spot now. I think for a while they were like, no, we're going to be a divisional team for sure. Now it's less for sure because Oilers have finally figured it out, right? So Oilers, Ducks, and Knights seem to be the top 3 divisional teams there in the Pacific. So I think it's concern for the Kings. Moving on to Utah Mammoth. Earlier in the season, it was panic. It is not panic anymore, I don't think. I think that they're slowly figuring out their game again. And I do believe they will be a wildcard team, playoff team, come April. So I think that there's definitely concern, but there's still time to fix things up and solidify your position there in the West. Moving on to the Buffalo Sabres. Oh man, I love talking about this team right now because they're on a 7-game winning streak. It is so cool to see because I really hope the streak continues. I really, really, really. They are like my secondary team this year. I really want to see them make playoffs. It would be such an awesome thing to see. I want Buffalo to be successful. I really do. I do not care for their owner, Terry Pegula, and I would not want him to be rewarded for for anything he's done. But for the players and for the fans of Buffalo, really happy. So I don't have them holly and jolly yet because we've seen Buffalo go through streaks in the past and still not make it, but it is encouraging to see a 7-game win streak for Buffalo. Moving on to the Boston Bruins, they're in this tier. There's the most teams are in the middle, just like most tier lists. So there's a lot of teams in this tier, but the Boston Bruins, they're not in a playoff spot, but they're still winning enough that it's making it competitive. And I think that's what Bruins fans care about. They want to see it go down right to the finish. I know there's some Bruins fans would like to see them tank and kind of get more prospects, but there's some Bruins fans who are like, no. I want to see them back in the playoffs. It was 1 year out of it is enough for me. So that's what they're doing. It's enough to keep them in the mix, right? There's 2 more teams. One of them I nearly put in a full-on panic. The New Jersey Devils. Even with Jack Hughes back, they have not been fully winning yet. So that is concerning. But it's only that yet so far. I think it's only concerning. It's not full-on panic. It's okay. It's okay. There's still time. You're still above 500. You're not in a playoff spot right now, but Jack Hughes takes more time to get accustomed. You take a little bit of a break here, the Christmas break. You get right back on track. I think it's still time for Devils. And the last team in this tier, the Washington Capitals. There's enough losses in the last 10 that it is concerning. Nearly panic, but they're still in a playoff spot. They're actually still in a divisional spot. So I wanted to keep them here. I didn't want to overreact too much for Washington. Moving to the second tier. This is the Holly and Jolly tier. Keeping with the Christmas theme, this is teams that are not overjoyed. You're not like the most happiest teams. There's only a few, there's a select few at the top there. But this is for the teams they're doing well, and it's actually a fair amount in this group. So it's also relative to expectations, right? So for starters, I got the Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks, they're still kicking. They are not falling off. Yes, they are not as hot as the number 1 Pacific team, but I didn't really expect them to continue that streak. I expected them to finish 2nd or 3rd in the Pacific Division, and they are on track to do so. So good for them, good for Anaheim, and they keep on kicking. Yes, they lose every now and then, but they're still 2nd in the Pacific. Moving on to the Edmonton Oilers, who are 3rd in the Pacific. They are definitely much happier than they were last month or the month before. They have figured out their woes. They have traded for Tristan Jarry, who is injured. That's not great. Their goaltending situation with Jarry injured is really worrisome. But they can hold the fort down until Jarry comes back. They're playing way better. Just to keep it short, they are playing way better than they were in October, November, and even like the first half of December. So good for Edmonton to finally get things figured out there. Moving on to the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers keep impressing me. they really look like a playoff team, and that's awesome because not a lot of people around the NHL, and I'd say most Flyers fans, had this team as a playoff team. I have to give credit to Rick Tocchet where it's due. I still do not like how he's handling Matvei Michkov and his minutes and his ice time, but credit where credit's due. He has this Flyers team playing very competitive hockey and winning a lot of games. Moving on to the San Jose Sharks. This is not going to be a playoff team. I'm going to say it straight up. It's not going to be a playoff team. However, that's okay. That's totally okay. San Jose Sharks fans, you should be overjoyed. I know you're overjoyed because this is a team that's showing that this is no longer a basement team. In part, I think that that's what Chicago is doing as well. It's even though they're without Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar right now, both are teams that I think are showing that they are no longer really basement teams. Even though Chicago is in the basement right now, they're showing that there are teams that, although they may finish, the Sharks may finish bottom 5 when it's all said and done at the end of the season. I absolutely will count this as a positive season. This is a successful season when it's all said and done because they are learning how to be competitive again. They are forging that competitive culture right before our very own eyes, and it's really, really cool to see. Moving on to the Ottawa Senators. Senators are rolling. I love how they did lose to Buffalo just now, but I really am really happy to see Senators because I wanted them to continue to improve upon their success from last season. So I'm happy to see after a very scary start, they're holly and jolly. Senators are holly and jolly right now. The Panthers are also holly and jolly. It was starting to look really bad for the Panthers, but they have figured it out just in time before Matthew Tkachuk comes back, which he probably comes back for the Winter Classic game. So perfect timing. They are in a wild card spot right now. That's just what they needed. So good for Florida. The Islanders are very holly and jolly. They do seem like a team that is. I'm waiting for the floor to fall out from them, but Sorokin's awesome, Schaefer's awesome, Horvat's awesome. They've got enough people who are playing awesome that they are a very fun team to watch at the very least, and that is much more. It's like the opposite of what I expected. I think a lot of people expected for Islanders this season. So I think they're feeling. I can't imagine that there's any Islanders fans out there who are not feeling very holly and jolly. For Christmas this season. There's 2 teams left in this tier. I've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning, although they've had more losses than they'd like in the last 10, I'd say. They're still second, I believe, in the Atlantic Division. They're a playoff team, and they've shown they're a playoff team. I think they're happy enough for sure. And the last team in this tier are the Montreal Canadiens, who I believe are third in the Atlantic Division right now. Do they still have problems? Yes. But they're still in a divisional spot in the Atlantic Division. It's a very competitive division. And they just got that Philip Deneau, which I was the true solidifier for me for putting the Canadiens in this tier. They got the second line center they need. Is it a short-term solution? Absolutely. But that's all they need because they've got, prospects coming up like Haig, right? He's coming up. He could potentially be their solution for their long-term second line center. So I really like the Deneau move, and they are, in my opinion, feeling very holly and jolly. Moving on to the final tier, the top tier. If you are in this tier, if you are a fan or a player of these teams, there's only 6 teams here. It's the Elite 6, and this is the Santa tier. It's the Elf tier from the movie Elf. I was just thinking about how jubilated you would be and overjoyed you would be if you were a fan of one of these teams in this tier. So starting off, we've got the Detroit Red Wings. First in the Atlantic still. We are about to enter 2026, and the Red Wings are top of the Atlantic. You gotta feel good. It looks like this might be the end. I do not want to jinx it. Please, I do not want to jinx it here, but it looks like it might be the end of the playoff drought for Detroit here. Moving on to the Carolina Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes are next. They're the best team in the East. Need I say more? Is it expected? Yeah. It doesn't mean that the fans and the players are probably very, very happy with how they played so far into the season. The Colorado Avalanche, they're the best team in the entire league. They've had 2 count them 1-2 whole losses in regulation this season. They're a team of destiny. They're my cup pick. I don't see anything changing that. They're absolutely insane. They're so dominant. Yeah, they're the most happy players and fans in the entire league. There's 3 more teams here on this tier list, though. I've got the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars continue to prove that they are one of the biggest contenders for the Cup this season. They're a fantastic team, and they're going to add. I'm sure they're going to add come deadline because they're all in. They're all in on the Cup this season. For many seasons now, they've been all in. That will continue. So Dallas, even though, yes, Colorado is the number 1 team right now in the West and your own division, the Central, you should feel nothing but overwhelming joy of how good your team is, because so many fans around the league envy how good your team is. 2 more teams, and this is another Central Division team. It's the Minnesota Wild. We've got a 3-headed dragon, 3-headed monster in the Central with Dallas, with Colorado, and now with Minnesota. They enter that mix by adding Quinn Hughes. Even if they weren't playing so well, which they are, they're playing very well. Adding a player of Quinn Hughes' caliber and his stardom gotta feel so good. It's gotta feel so good as a fan, to be like, we just got Quinn Hughes. We just got the second, best defenseman in the entire league on our team. That's gotta feel so amazing. And to know that your GM was able to pull off a move like that. Yeah, you're over the moon right now. And the last team, this is a team atop the Pacific Division, the Vegas Golden Knights. Even with the shaky goaltending, to say the least, your team has started playing a lot better. The Vegas Golden Knights are starting to look a lot more like the well-oiled machine that they've played like in years prior. So, Marner's playing really, really well right now. Hurdle is playing really, really well. So even though Theodore's out for, I think, another week or so, it'll be okay. You should be feeling very happy for the Christmas season. That has been it. That has been the tier list. That has been the team panic meters for every single team in the NHL. And, tomorrow is Christmas, so I just want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to all those who don't celebrate Christmas. If you like the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and I will see you guys after Christmas for the next video.